5 tips to become more influential and earn respect. In 324 BC, Alexander the Great's armies had conquered most of the known world. Now he ordered some of his retired soldiers to return home, but the others told him they wanted to return to their wives and children. If you appreciate the video you watch and want to help us continue creating interesting content, we kindly ask you to consider the idea of subscribing to our channel and leaving us a donation to support us. Thanks to your support, we will be able to continue improving and offering you new insights. You can do it here below, through the appropriate buttons, subscribe, and thanks. At that moment, one of the greatest speeches in history was delivered. Who among you believes they have worked harder for me than I have for them? There is not a single part of my body that is not scarred. There are scars from every imaginable weapon. All for your life, your glory, your wealth. And yet here I am, leading you as a conqueror across lands and seas, rivers and mountains. And now I wanted to send some of you home, wounded, maimed, or old, and welcome you as heroes. But all of you want to go home, so go home. Go home and tell your families that Alexander, who conquered the world, was abandoned by you when he returned home. This is just a part of the essence of the speech captured by Arian. After the speech, the entire army asked for forgiveness, and Alexander began planning his next conquest. His great power, influence, and ability gave the entire army the energy and will to fight and conquer again. This is a significant moment in history that cannot be replicated today. This speech is a great example of influence and persuasion. A few weeks ago, returning home after a long day, I turned on the television. The TV was tuned to a news channel, and a politician was speaking to the press about his party's objectives. I couldn't help but notice how persuasive he was. I started wondering, how does a person have so much influence? The immediate answer was that he was a politician and, consequently, had a certain influence and charisma. But if you think about it, influence isn't acquired after becoming a politician. One must have influence to become one. And if you're in a group and look around, there's always someone who looks, sounds, and behaves differently, and whatever they do, it seems like there's always someone trying to follow them. And then, of course, there are influencers who are paid thousands of dollars just to post certain things on social media. In other words, influence isn't just about charisma and communication, but also about what you can do to become more influential and powerful. In this way, it's easier to manage people and influence purchasing decisions and even entire markets. And since being influential is just a skill, it can be learned. With practice, it can be learned. If you want to become more influential, to elevate yourself above the average and influence more people, there are some things you can start doing today. Let's go back a few weeks. I was in front of the TV, with all these extraordinary speakers and presenters captivating the audience like magic. But I thought it was quite ridiculous until I noticed that my friend Andrew was fascinated by the same people on TV. It's truly incredible, if you think about it, how politicians, motivational speakers, and others can influence crowds, touch people's emotions, and make them believe in their ideas and dreams. If you think about it, it's a kind of superpower. The way they use the right words to make you feel a certain way and convince you to accept their vision, with smiles and gestures. So I got interested and started researching the topic. After analyzing information from various sources, here's what I found. But first, I have a request. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to make sure you don't miss any of our videos. Now let's continue. The first thing we learned is 1. Believe in yourself. Being influential means gaining the trust of others. Therefore, you must be seen as a genuine and honest person, open to criticism, and acting consistently with your own convictions and opinions, not those of others. Only confident people are strong enough to accept their own mistakes, and consequently, others like them. This is because everyone has flaws, and those who can recognize them are highly regarded. Moreover, if you don't believe in yourself, how can others believe in you? Whatever you do, you must look in the mirror and say, I did it. If you approach things with calm and confidence, you are always more likely to give your best and give 100%. Here are some tips I used to give my friends when I was in high school. I remember there was a girl I really liked. She was very beautiful and very popular. Her friend's name was George, and for some time, he had been thinking about approaching her. The first piece of advice I gave him was to have confidence in himself and believe in himself. You see, people are attracted to confident people. Because confidence is a sign of experience. For example, if you're a salesperson, If you demonstrate experience with the product, you're more likely to sell it. This is the power of confidence and perhaps the most important aspect of influence. 2. Respect everyone. Our society has unwritten laws and rules that make social life possible and pleasant. For example, it is an unwritten rule that if you meet someone you know, you should say, "Hi," or "Hello." Otherwise you risk being perceived as rude. Being a respectful person is an essential element of a modern, developed society with values. This is a fact and obviously varies from culture to culture. For example, you may know that in Japan, it is often considered an offense to leave a tip. If you leave coins on the table in a restaurant, the waiter will come looking for you to return the money. So, if you are courteous, you are automatically labeled as rude, and you lose any chance of influencing people or gaining their trust. Therefore, regardless of what is said, remain calm and treat people with respect without expecting anything in return. When you do something only for personal gain, people notice. 3. Maintain control. You should always aim to be the most motivating person in the room. By doing so, you will have more power and control than anyone else. There is an unwritten rule for taking the initiative: responsibility. Taking responsibility for your own mistakes and those of others shows that you are genuine and responsible. Society respects this and considers you fully responsible for your life, while at the same time demanding responsibility from others. Therefore, whenever someone makes a mistake and does not take responsibility, you step in and do the right thing. If someone hurts someone else, you must intervene and stop them. Responsibility equals trust. If you are not trustworthy, you cannot have control, regardless of your communication skills. 4. Be optimistic and energetic. Not everyone can always see the positive side of every situation. People take the worst of themselves and their situation and amplify it, as if they love to complain. They don't care if people overwhelm them with sad stories and accounts of how they had a terrible day and expect you to feel sorry for them when you listen. But if you don't, they won't like you. The truth is that everyone has sad stories, but most people don't care. They probably have problems they are trying to deal with and forget. They just want to laugh, have fun, and enjoy life. And good influencers know this. Being optimistic and being the brightest person in the room even in the most difficult situations will significantly improve your influence. It's easier said than done, but here's what I've understood over the past few years. Optimism isn't learned instantly, it's part of a mindset that develops. Saying, "Okay, from now on I'll be an optimist," doesn't work. At first, you'll struggle to be optimistic in the face of failures and difficulties. It will take time to succeed. Then, after many months, you'll start to see significant improvements, and before you know it, you'll be doing it unconsciously. As soon as you become optimistic, you'll start influencing more people, who will be fascinated by your way of thinking. You'll become the person everyone has been waiting for. 5. Public speaking and persuasion. Whether you're speaking to a stranger, a school, or a team, you need to be persuasive and powerful when speaking to an audience. Confidence is gained by speaking from the heart, with passion and persuasion. The most important aspect of being a persuasive person, and a good speaker, is the ability to use emotions and themes to persuade people. You're trying to sell a pen. If you can't write well, you can't solve the problem of not being able to write a shopping list. When a large group of people, or even a single person, listens to you, they have a filter. It's up to you to develop the ability to convey the intended message and achieve the desired result, as if everything they hear is interpreted differently. Using the crowd's pain, let's go back to the example of the speech Alexander the Great gave to his army. If you analyze this speech carefully, you'll see that Alexander the Great used the emotions of his troops to make their return unthinkable. At that time, it was highly dishonorable to leave a captain or king and abandon a battle for comfort. And it was precisely this emotion that convinced the entire army to continue fighting. The sense of guilt. This concludes the video. These are the best tips I found in my research on social influence. Follow and practice these habits, and you'll see your influence grow. Sometimes it may seem difficult, but remember, better to get used to it than to learn it. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Make sure you don't miss any of our videos by subscribing to our channel and activating notifications. Also, share this video with your friends. Share your personal experience on today's topic with us. Write it in the comments and ask us any questions you may have, we will be happy to answer. Leave a comment so that we can perfect our creations. We will be happy with your simple like, but the most important thing is not to forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming videos.